I'm going to be focusing, and I have a few notes really. I'm going to be focusing on the essay in the article in philosophy that Stefano was also talking about. So he already laid out excellent position. No? But I am going to be focusing now in a reference that comes actually on Lacan's in the collection of the other side of psychoanalysis. It has to do with shame. And first, for those of you that have not read the article, which I strongly recommend, Yannis makes this layout of what is happening today with the case of Greece, but also into a general way. And he focuses in many things, but four that that really caught my attention. No? One of them is when he talks about the medicalization of what's going on today with the death and the signing of shame. And then he relates it to the fact that in the process, what has to be done then is to, not that we have to be done, but capital does, the mutilation, the excision. So this is the bad country, this is the bad thing, so we have to just excise this out for a supposed good. Then he talks about the cruelty, the extreme cruelty of this process, which is a biopolitical process, but as he points out in the essay, he is, it is astonishing for all of us to see the suddenly cruel modes that this kind of punishing after assigning the blame and the guilt, it goes and takes on. The other thing is that, and he relates also all this to the Lacanian, the Lacan's discourse on the university, which I will just talk about in a little minute. But then also he says that in this, that Stefano was also commenting, that he sees this as this process, this moment, this very cruel moment of this biopolitical, then moving into this kind of the post, beyond the post-democracy into this kind of, which is very scary, it's this authoritarian. It's even hard to call it, to add the adjective democracy, because it's authoritarian democracy, but they're still hanging there, so we still keep it, right? But in doing so, and another remark that in the article, he calls our attention to the fact that what is also going on is that in this placing this blame and this making shameful, and therefore I would say this mutilation of the guilty part. First is a shame because you're guilty of doing this, and then for you or a country or state, whatever nation, then you're out. Is this kind of process of locating. So it is no longer a matter of what, but it is a matter of who, which is also very terrifying, you know. And then he takes us to this this kind of metaphors as symptoms of what's going on today, and he also gives very excellent reading of the Lacanian discourse on the university. No? And then following this this kind of path, and I get into the Lacan itself. I mean, in the other side of psychoanalysis, the thing there is not a lot of apparently on shame. The Lacan really writing on shame, but it is obviously, and it is there in the collection of writings done by Miller in I think it's chapter 13, I think, that yes, Lacan directly talks about shame, no? And I just quoting here when he says he starts actually saying that what is it? Just a second. He's saying it does have to be said, and that's the way he starts, Lacan, that it is unusual to die of shame. Okay, that made me very happy because even though you're continually not with the shame, well, okay, I'm not gonna die. It's possible not to die. It's unusual to die of shame. So we're still here with something we can do. Lacan was referring to Vatel, which he committed suicide out of shame, and this is the 17th century, and this character is in the Madame de Sévigné's letters, no? And well, actually, I can see, well, not really, but perhaps no. He was very ashamed because the fish did not arrive on time for the banquet that they had for Louis XIV. Anyway, so but then he keeps insisting in shame. This class, actually, this is a class. He's doing it in Vincent, and we were talking about the political, that he doesn't refer really to politics, but Lacan refers to the political. In the University of Vincent in Paris, it was a new one, created in '69, right after the '68. And when Lacan gives this lecture, he's annoyed. He's referring all the time that it is really a shame, actually. And then he links this kind of shame. That's the way he starts, and he says, it's a shame to be in Vincent, blah, blah. And then he directly just starts talking about the truth. You know? And they say, well, so how do we link, therefore, the shame and the truth? No? Miller says that all this talk about shame on this lecture in this class, actually it is read usually kind of like saying to the students, so you're shameless, this is horrible because you're shameless, because after May 68, the students were like, were ashamed of nothing, and then Lacan actually was saying that you have to be, it's good to be ashamed of something, in that way, but not publicly. And that is what I got the link with Yannis. No? In my reading of Lacan's text, he's not saying that it's okay to be ashamed, in the old regime, but in the old times, they say you do something, they should say you have to be ashamed because what you've done is bad for the others. No? But what we have now is that displacement is you have to be ashamed because of you. There has nothing. It's nothing to do with the good or the bad of the others. It's and that is when the truth comes. So what capitalism, wild capitalism today seems to tell us is that we are in debt, so we have to be ashamed. For that, but not because of saying it is going to come, it's going to make any kind of possible good or make good for the others, but only to kind of punish us in a kind of a cruel, unusual ways. No? So Lacan actually, what it is saying is that this truth, or seems to be saying, this truth keeps a secret, has to be. For the shame to be possible in this other way, this the other side, the truth can never be transparent, because transparency it always leads to totalitarianism, as Maria Zambrano and Ángel Valente were talking about in our class. We already well known, no? So, and then when he, in this class, when he addresses that secret of the truth, he makes a quote that it actually I thought fascinating, which relates to Baltasar Gracian's, the third part of the Criticon, no? Which is a part that it says in Gracian, la verdad de parto, so truth giving birth. No? And in Gracian's text, when truth is giving, there is this announcement that truth is giving birth, and therefore in this society of very, supposedly very pious and honest and good people, as soon as the announcement comes that truth is going to give birth, they all get very, very scared and they go. Everybody just is going for a utopia in another place that is not going to happen. So the truth giving birth seems to, or it is understood by the social as bringing a whole series of monsters and terrors. So what I'm saying, and Lacan is not very explicit of that. I mean, he just quotes it and then he moves into Shakespeare and Balzac's, but he just leaves it there. So I was thinking about when you also your two books and these, this relation between the truth that in Graciani's truth never speaks. It never says anything. It never really actually delivers anything. What it is the relation, therefore, of this kind of in the process of today's wild, I would say, primitive accumulation. I would say directly has to do with this kind of threatening of the transparency of truth when in fact it doesn't exist. And the last thing, and this is just for another day at dinner time, all that, thinking in Gracian and what kind of subject this creates that he was pointing into the essays, and I would say, well, I don't know if it were we can talk about what perhaps there is the will to kind of like create a new subject in this new paradigm. We still don't know what it is going to come. But making the comparison with the moment with the encounter of the Americans with the Spanish Empire and Spanish Inquisition, etc. So it makes it seems to be clear. So perhaps it's spitting, it is sucking in all subjects because they are actually stealing our information, and spitting out so kind of like leftovers of a kind of subject, and therefore then it is easy to identify us as the Marrano or the Jew, and I'm talking about the Marrano converso, Thinking also that funny that the first countries to be identified, as Yannis pointed out, they were called pigs. Portugal, Italy. Actually, I thought it was Ireland first, but it's Italy, Greece, and Spain. Right. So, well, most probably, therefore, to think about the figure of in the Marrano register, and to think in maybe infrapolitical, and to think a lot about what Yannis has to say.